Is Robert Horry a Hall of Famer? Without a doubt, absolutely 100% yes. He, of course, is unique as far as Hall of Fame goes because people don't look at him like that. I only looked and thought of Robert Horry because I was reading an article in which he was speaking about how franchises fall. Right? He was talking about how the San Antonio Spurs, he knew it was inevitable. And he said the same thing happened to the Lakers, same thing happened to the Celtics. And just his name coming up made me think of him and the role he's played on different teams. And a lot of people want to say that he deserves to be a Hall of Famer just because of the big shots he hit. And I am inclined to disagree with that logic, but I get it. I understand what you're saying. If you hold that position, I am not trying to combat you on it. I respect it. It's a respectable position to have, right? The reason why I think Robert Horry is a Hall of Famer is because he is one of those guys where the team does not win without him. Forget the big shots, right? Let's assume that he didn't make those big shots and someone else did, right? Let's just assume that for a moment. If he didn't make those big shots and someone else did, I think that he would still be in the conversation. I still think that there's an argument to be made for him. There's an argument to be made against him. But if he didn't hit those shots, I still think that there's an argument to be made for him. And the role that he played on Houston, on the Lakers, on the Houston championship team, on the Lakers championship team, and on San Antonio's championship teams, I believe that they don't win without him. I mean, again, forget the shots. I believe they don't win without him. He was more than a role player, right? So, just give you an example, right? When AC Green replaced Kurt Rambis on the Showtime Lakers, right? That was a role player for a role player. You know? And in that particular case, you look at those guys and you say, well, could the Lakers have won without AC Green? Yeah, yeah. It's a decent shot that they go and make a move to bring in somebody who does effectively the same thing. Or they let Kurt Rambis play in that role and they continue to win. You know, I mean, it's a very good possibility. They were definitely better when they got AC Green, right? But it wasn't that type of neither one of them had that kind of impact on the team, right? You take Robert Horry. Robert Horry did what only a few players could do. You talk about a unique player, right? I mean, you talk about dude 6'10", 6'11". He could guard damn near all the positions. I mean, with the caveat, of course, that no one could stay in front of these super fast point guards. No one could do it nowadays, man. No one could do it back then. No one could stay in front of these super quick point guards. With that being said, he could guard every position as good as damn near anybody else on the court. That's one, right? Two, he was a glue guy. He was a feel-good guy. You know, the Lakers are in the process of talking about trading Austin Reeves, right? It's that time of year. His name is coming up because of his contract, because of his age, because of his production. His name is coming up. And a lot of people are pointing to his stats. Well, but see, a dude like Austin Reeves, when you finish the game, you don't really know what his stats were. You know, all you know is that the dude kicked ass, that the dude did his job, that he was everywhere he was supposed to be and did everything he was supposed to do. Does he have good games? Does he have bad games? Of course. Every player does. The greatest do, right? But that guy does everything that he's supposed to do and is a total professional, a consummate professional, you know. And Robert Horry, you know, he caught a bad rap because he threw a towel in Danny Ainge's face. I believe when Danny Ainge was a coach, he threw a towel in Danny Ainge's face. It was more of a joke, but people took it and ran with it and made it this huge deal. You know what I mean? And that loomed over him for a long time. But anyone who could look past that relatively juvenile mistake, if you want to call it that, anyone who could look past that, you could see Robert Horry was just different. He was one of one. He was a unicorn, man. you don't see people built like him. You see these people yell about these stretch fives and 3-and-D and all these other terms that they use now that the three-pointer has become so much more prevalent in the NBA. Robert Horry was doing that stuff back then, man. He was doing that. He didn't adopt the same label, but he was doing all of that stuff and guarding every position. And you just get the vibe from Robert Horry as opposed to like a Charles Oakley or a who else would be a good example? It's hard to think of a good example. Take Glenn Rice, right? Glenn Rice was more of a high-profile player, but I couldn't say that he was any more important than Robert Horry ever was on a championship team. This is the thing about basketball, a philosophy about basketball that I have. A philosophy that you will see play out as the offseason goes on, right? A lot of people will look at a move and question a particular move and not understand the mind space that the GM who made the move is in, right? But you can't have but so much talent in any particular player, right? You can't have but only so much talent on any particular team. After a minute, there is a such thing as having too much talent. As far as it being distributed over the course of players, right? Over a certain amount. So, for example, do you really need a team that has Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kevin Garnett, and Hakeem Olajuwon? Do you really need that team? Right? Or is a team that has Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Horace Grant, and Hakeem Olajuwon, is that team better? You see what I'm saying? One team has more talent, but I believe one team is going to be better, right? And it's about chemistry. It's about fit, right? If you have Michael Jordan on the team with all those great players, either Michael Jordan has to take a step back or those great players have to take a step back, right? And when you watch a game, you'll see that a team that allows every player to only step forward and only play with their foot on the gas and only play, as opposed to with their foot on the brake, right? Those teams are the teams that are often the best. Those are the teams that are when Miami lost in that first year against Dallas, everybody slammed LeBron, right? What they don't understand is LeBron was on a team in which he had to figure out where he was supposed to play, right? What spot was he most effective in, right? And so many little things go into changing that chemistry, into changing that dynamic. You know what I mean? It's a very fine line to kind of walk, right? And whereas you had Dallas, right? And Dallas had Dirk. And there was no mistake about it. Dirk was the man on that team. Period, point blank. He was the silverback gorilla. Period, point blank. And that Dallas team, they had no question about who they were and what their roles were and who the man was and who they were supposed. They had no question whatsoever, and that's worth something, right? Well, when you could fill up a team with great players, right, and they know their roles, and that is what makes a team great. The fact that Dennis Rodman could go 100% into what he was doing. The fact that Horace Grant could play 100% into, the fact that Robert Horry could give 100% of himself. It all matters, and a lot of people miss that when it comes to championship teams. They miss that. But Robert Horry wasn't just that with Houston. He was that with the Lakers. He was that with San Antonio. And, he was a professional guy who did that. He's a consummate professional. He is the benchmark for a player who does what a talented championship team needs from its other players. Right? He is the prototype. Yo, man, that's Hall of Fame right there. That's Hall of Fame. It was a question whether he was a Hall of Famer just based on the huge shots he made. That were absolutely, it was binary. He makes a shot, the team wins the championship. He misses a shot, the team gets eliminated or loses the championship. It was binary with that dude in the shots he made. That was a question whether he deserved to be a Hall of Famer just on that alone. But nah, man, when you stop and you look at what his role was on different teams, right? And how he was able to fill that role and absolutely bind that team together. Dude is a Hall of Famer, man. What team does he go in as a Hall of Famer for? I don't know. Is that how it works? Or is it just that he's inducted to the Hall of Fame? Because, again, his game, I don't think he should go in with any particular team. Dude is just a straight up Hall of Famer. Yo, I was looking at his stats. He never averaged more than 12 points a game, which is hard to believe. Because when you watch the game, you believe he had a greater impact than that. A much greater impact than 12 points a game. Dude never averaged more than 12 points a game. Usually averaged about 1 block a game, 1 steal a game. I mean, just an awesome player, man. And his uniqueness and his ability to bind a team together, it flies under the radar, and it should be given more notice. So, hey, man, I'm giving my flowers to Robert Horry. He deserves them. Dude is definitely Hall of Famer. And, you know, he may not make it because people have a different perspective and a different idea of what a Hall of Famer is. You know, but to me, you go to 3 teams and you do what you did on 3 different teams. Yo, that's Hall of Fame worthy. Because I could honestly say, I don't believe... Look, do the Lakers win a championship without Derek Fisher? Yeah, I think they could have. I think they could have found somebody to replace Derek Fisher. Do they win a championship without Rick Fox? Yeah. Do they win a championship without Robert Horry? I don't know. They definitely don't win without some of the big shots he made. But forget the shots again. Do they win just without him? I don't think so. I don't think so. And for those reasons, and it's not just that he did it with one team, for the fact that he did it with 3 different teams, the dude should be a Hall of Famer. Anyway, this is Pure Uncut Lakers. Have a good weekend. I'm getting ready to get into this Denver Oklahoma City game. Should be great. And yo, man, enjoy it. All right, y'all. Peace.